In this video, we're going to discuss removing Quincy or parts of Quincy. There are a number of different instances when you need to do this. If you've messed up an upgrade, or if you've messed up an install, or if sometimes you want to upgrade one part of Quincy and not another part, you often find yourself needing to specifically remove a component. So I want to explore the ins and outs of that in this video. This is part of our ongoing series, including installation, upgrading, and removing. And obviously we're talking about removing here. So let's just hop into it. It's pretty straightforward in the end. It's not a heck of a lot different than removing other components, other pieces of software. You can see I have my three icons here. We're really only going to affect Quincy Server and Quincy. QView is an entirely different executable, and we won't be removing it here. You can see these are functioning. I've got Quincy running, and so I want to go through the process of removing it. There are several ways I can do this. I, in fact, for what it's worth, can open up the control panel and just remove the individual pieces. And let me show you that. I'm not actually going to do it that way here, but let me just show you how you would do it. I'm going to go into my my control panel. We're looking for apps. Here we are. Apps and features. There we go. And then you can see the Access Data components right here. And I can literally just, click on this, uninstall, click on this, uninstall, click on it, uninstall, and it will remove everything. That's simple. If I just want to get rid of my processing engine, I can remove it same way here. But instead of that, let's just explore doing it this way. We're going to use the actual executable, the installation executable, to remove it. The reason I'm doing it this way is because it's most common that you want to remove pieces as a function of an installation, a new installation, an upgrade, something like that. So let's just go ahead and double click on this and see how this whole thing works. Now, actually, before I go forward with the installation, I'm going to want to close the server. So let me just go ahead and do that. Yes, I want to allow it to make changes. And we're just going to open up. Again, this is the same window that you would see if you were doing an installation. Obviously, in fact, I've clicked on the installation icon. But when Quincy is going through an installation, if it notices that you already have a version of Quincy on it, it goes ahead and uninstalls that version. And we're going to use that attribute as a way of removing it. All right, now you can see you want to uninstall Evidence Processing Engine. We do. Do we want to install the Database Configuration Tool? We also do. We're going to go ahead and click uninstall. And this is, in fact, all there is to it. I'm, in fact, going to zip ahead and show you the end result now, because all you do at this point is sit and watch. Okay, the installation has finished. You can tell, obviously, it says click finish. Go ahead and do that. Now let's look. Our icon is gone, which is a good sign. Now let's open up our control panel and see what programs are there or have been removed, what the status is basically. All right, still. Okay, so I think one of two things has happened. Either it didn't properly work because there's a ton of Access Data stuff here, but I actually don't think that's the case in this case. The scenario I believe that's played out here is you see how these programs are from January, this is from October. But what this tells me is I actually had more than one version of Access Data product on this computer. And the installation just removed I had a May 23rd version installed. That was the most current version. It just removed that version. So actually that gives us a great opportunity to go through both mechanisms of removal here, because I want to get rid of these older versions as well. So let me go ahead and click on just Quincy and just show you how it's just as simple as uninstalling, uninstall, and then it's just the normal uninstall process. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for all these different components so I can get the machine completely clean. And then I want to show you one other thing, and then we'll be done. So I'm going to go, as a general rule, I'm going to skip through each one of these things because they take vary between, well, this one's going to says it's going to take a minute, but some of them take upwards of like 5 minutes to uninstall this way. So I will resume on each time I press uninstall. We'll talk a little bit, and then I will pause and fast forward through the remaining of the install process. Okay, it just finished uninstalling Quincy. So now let's go ahead and I'm just going to tick through each one of these. In fact, I'm going to stopping the video. I'm going to redo it when I'm going to resume only when there's something sort of meaningful to talk about, which will probably be when we go around to uninstall Postgres. But just so everyone understands, all I'm going to be doing is clicking on the process and then uninstall. And I'm going to do that over and over and over again. So we finished uninstalling everything. All the evidence processors, Quincy, FTK, all that stuff has been removed. All that's left is the Postgres SQL database, which we'll uninstall in a second. But let's look at what has happened. The icons are all gone. If we open up our folder, and this is something worth knowing, Access Data puts almost all of its stuff, except for QView, here in Program Files. And then we've got Access Data. And the various pieces, you can see Evidence Processing Engine, FTK, and Quincy. And you say, well, hold on, we uninstalled all those. Why are those folders still there? And the answer is, for the most part, they're completely empty. If you click down, you'll see a few files, things that for one reason or another, or in this case, actually none at all. So that was a clean uninstall. Let's see if this was the same. Looks like maybe this might have some stuff in it. No, both of these were clean uninstalled. That's great. Let's look at Quincy. Sometimes I've found stuff in there. Yes, so this one seems to have not worked nearly as well as we wanted it to. It still seems to have stuff in it, but all the underlying files are empty, so just lots of folders, frankly. But it's all been pretty much wiped out. Now, generally, what I like to do, just for the thoroughness, is I actually like to delete the folder structures. So I'll just come and I'll hit delete, and FTK, delete. And you can see clearly there was some stuff in there. And then I'll go Quincy and I'll go delete. So still obviously some files, though most of the files, as we saw, were gone. And so now I've got a completely clean slate. Let's go back into our uninstall, and now let's uninstall the database. This one's slightly more complex. I mean, it starts out the same. You just click uninstall, you follow the uninstall process, and we'll be good having removed the program. But there's a little bit more to it, so let's wait for this to finish, and then we'll once again reconvene. Okay, so a little bit more complex. We just got this warning, so we're going to go ahead and follow through with this. We're going to reboot after we're done, just to make sure, again, everything's clean. But we'll just click OK and continue on with the uninstall process. Okay, we're just back from the restart that was required to reset Postgres. So now if we go back into our setup, I think we'll find that we've at this point removed basically everything there is to remove other than QView, which we're not going to remove this install. And we can see, yes, indeed, that's the case. Only QView is left. And let's go track down the Postgres install folder. Make sure it's gone as well. See. Program files, access data, Postgres. So like a lot of our things, a lot of our experiences, the folder still seems to be here, but the contents all seem to be empty. So as we did before, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this thing. Just do like that, so we have just sort of the clean slate. Now, the main thing I wanted to show you was about Postgres. The complexity here is this folder. If I were to go and reinstall Postgres, upgrade Quincy right now and lay down a new version. When I went into the database, in fact, I'd be looking at, I'd have all the data I had before, and I'd wonder uh, why is my old data here? I thought I uninstalled everything. In fact, the Postgres data, the application resides in here, but the data resides here. If you want a truly clean break after you're done installing Postgres, uninstalling Postgres, you also must delete this folder, which I'm going to go ahead and do right now. And it's as simple as deleting a folder. There's nothing really to see here, no magic, nothing fancy. I just click delete on it, and it'll chug through all the files, and then it'll be gone. I think I had a number of cases in here, so it's going to be quite a while, but I'll pause and resume when it's fully deleted. Okay, it deleted that folder, so we're done there. The last thing worth looking into is if you're truly trying to get a clean slate, remove everything, is your case folder. Where did you keep your cases? Where did you keep your evidence? You can see here, my cases are here and they have not been deleted. They're still here. And in my case, again, I want as clean a slate as possible, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And it's going to remove my cases. Again, we're just doing a simple delete here, nothing fancy. But again, I'll zoom ahead because it's not really worth watching. All right, the final thing worth discussing is, well, actually, excuse me, if you've done exports or if you have other stuff you want to get rid of, just go ahead and click here and delete it. In my case, I just had cases, evidence I don't want to get rid of, and exports, I'll go ahead and delete that just for good measure as well. But the last thing worth discussing here is the bread viewer. So it looks like our installer has in fact cleaned that up. We don't have any, I believe it's called, no, it's not called bread, excuse me, it's called Collab Viewer. So we don't seem to have the Collab Viewer installed anymore. But if we look on our desktop, here in program files, you still see there is this bread folder. It's got its logs. You can go ahead and delete that as well to get that fully sort of cleaned up thing. And then you can go and check if you see bread now. So bread or collab have been completely removed. So we're good. We have a complete deletion. The access data folder is empty. If you wanted to, you could remove this and then reinstall or do whatever you wanted to do, but your system should be pretty clean at this point. So that's the uninstall process. Hopefully that was clear. You don't have to uninstall everything. You could, of course, just uninstall an individual component. You have to be careful because obviously if you uninstall components, the whole system won't work. So you need to reinstall and you need to do smart things when you do that. But if you are looking to get rid of everything and just start fresh, as frankly I've done a number of times, this is how you do that. So thank you very much. I hope this was helpful.